Welcome to That Davis Show. I am your host, Kenneth Davis. Follow me on all social media platforms at That's Davis. Of course, the executive producer and my partner in crime, Ryan Bukovetsky. Follow him at Ryan B. Ski and Ryan B. Ski 1 on Instagram. We got a little sports episode for you with the Bears making their roster cuts to get their roster down to 53 men. Some of them near and dear to our hearts, some of them unexpected, expected, unexpected. So we got some guys definitely to talk about, Ryan. How are you doing, man?
I'm doing great, and now I'm especially intrigued because the near and dear caught me off guard. I'd love to hear the near and dear to Ken Davis that we can call the forgotten now.
All right. So one of my partners over on the Under Center podcast, Alex Shapiro, we've had this thing for Lashavius Pig Simmons that we always did, where we would sing the post-mortem Notorious Big song, Notorious, no, and we would be like, Lashavius, look. Somebody asked us, will we do it one last time? We was like, definitely, we're going to do it one last time. So
now that's a double post-mortem on top of it.
Two bodies, but no. So it's just,
hold on. Is that the nickname or the player?
What's the nickname? Pig Simmons?
Yeah.
Yeah,
is that what you were missing? No, are you missing the nickname?
Oh,
or the player?
I'm totally no. I'm actually missing the name Lashavius more than Pig.
Oh, okay.
The name Lashavius, when they drafted him, I was like, Lashavius? I was like, okie dokie, mom, you went for one with that one. So I've always been intrigued by Pig Simmons because of his first name being Lashavius. It's a wonderful name that I enjoy saying. Now I won't get to say Lashavius. Like you can't look a gift Lashavius in the mouth and not appreciate a gift Lashavius. So
now hold on. Do you feel the same way about Ladarius? Because when we lost Khalil Mack's brother, Ladarius, I thought that was a little bit of a
not at all. Ladarius, I hate to say, but nowadays that's kind of run of the mill down there, right? Ladarius. It's not like exotic. We've lived in 20 years of the lies by now. LaShawn, LaTroy.
Let's get the Lays a chance.
Yeah, but Lashavy. I mean, that's new for a lot lay, whatever. You know what I'm saying? That's the new one right there, right? So and then the Simmons just fit Lashavius. Like imagine Lashavius Simmons. Like you gonna be like, who is that? You know what I'm saying? You're gonna perk up a little bit, like, wait. Who was Lashavius? Who was Lashavius Simmons?
It's giving me Yo Gotti vibes with Angela Simmons.
So we also have Jean Delance, John Alexander. That's offensive lineman DB John Alexander, wide receiver Kevin Shea, offensive lineman Corey Dublin. Defensive lineman Mario Edwards Jr., defensive lineman, Javon Cooley, who I hope makes it through waivers. Had a couple plays. Running back, DeMontre Tuggle, defensive lineman Sam Kamara, of course, the Peterman. Treadway. Peterman. Michael Schofield is one that definitely stands out. I
got a question for you after you list them off.
Being the guard that the Bears brought in but didn't play well, and basically they gave his position to Tevin Jenkins as a new position a couple weeks ago. And Tevin Jenkins has struggled a little bit at the beginning of preseason games, but has picked it up and seems like he's won a position and found a spot on this roster as of right now moving forward.
Now, maybe you kind of already answered the question, but I was curious in your mind, what's the bigger deal, Michael Schofield being cut or Mario Edwards Jr. being cut?
Maybe Mario Edwards Jr. Because we kind of know what we can get out of him. We've seen him pop. Now I don't know about the front office, but I mean they're educated NFL insiders, so they know him. Saying that he's a nice depth reserve player to have on your team. So I would say him because I mean for us here in Chicago, Michael Schofield really hasn't done anything. You know what I'm saying? It was a name, You know, a name that in the past was viewed as being a good guard who maybe time has caught up with him, or maybe he's going to latch on in Tampa Bay. We know they need two guards in the center. Maybe he's going to latch on in a place like that.
And go up against Akeem Hicks on top of it. How about that, Irish?
Hey, that'll get you right. Nothing to get you right like that. But yeah, so I will have to go with Mario Edwards Jr. because we've seen him flash on several Sundays. So yeah, I mean, you know, he had the off-field issue. The Bears knew about it. I think it kind of ended where I don't remember. I don't know if they said that the young lady either lied or something, but I remember how it ended. Didn't seem, and again, this is just me. I'm trying to remember, like it was like, oh, this is guilty. So
yeah,
I don't even know if it's even worth bringing that up. But I mean, I just think looking at what they probably want to do, and if you got to think about it, you got a defensive head coach. He basically maybe also he didn't buy into the hits principle.
Yeah.
You know, maybe that's part of it, where he's not one of those guys that wants to run all day and every day. And he had too many loafs in their eyes, and they didn't want to have that in the room. Again, I don't know. I'm putting that out there as a reason for someone who seemed like a good depth D lineman was released by the Bears, because I would doubt that they're going to be able to put him on any practice squad or anything, because it's clearly teams I would think will probably want to sign him because
and he's past his service time eligibility, I think, for the practice squad. But yeah, I only bring it up just because of that. Like looking at Mario Edwards Jr., like you said, big time depth piece. Like this, like defensive line is everything in this scheme. You got to get pressure with that front four. So you need guys that can get after the pass rusher. And in a 3-4 front or in their routine 4-man front, they would routinely be like Mario Edwards in the backfield. So I was a little surprised by that compared to maybe some of the younger guys. And it's the same thing with Schofield. Him being cut means there's a different starter on the offensive line. So obviously that's a big deal. But in a way, I almost think of it as like not as big of a deal, because they really should have been going with a Borom or a Jenkins if you're going to put Riley Reef as your right tackle, and not even waste your time with a Michael Schofield unless they were just terrible at guard.
Yeah, but you know what it could have been too? Like, I believe they should have been practicing Tevin Jenkins at guard, but he was hurt. They didn't tell us what was wrong with him, but clearly he had something, and I don't think it was just attitude when it comes to Tevin Jenkins, right?
Well, if anything, we were touting how he bought in. Remember how he cut down on beer, cut down the body fat percentage? Like, it really wouldn't make sense for him not to get along with the program when he seemed like he was.
But they leaked out that he wasn't. I mean, that didn't come from nowhere. You know what I'm saying? Like when they were talking about trading him, and that someone did that.
But they still were, even as of the day before. Did you see that report by Tom Pelissero?
So I doubt it now, though. You know,
I know. Like that's why I was shocked to see it. Like yesterday, oh, Bears are still taking trade offers for. Like what? He's your starter. What are you talking about?
Well, you know what? Maybe that's adding value to him, perhaps, to get a trade through. But look,
and maybe this front office is throwing smoke out there. Maybe that's what they're doing with some of this stuff.
I would hate to give all those reps to someone who's not going to be here, and then now you have to get somebody else in there to play right guard. I mean, do they believe Sam Mustipher could do it when Lucas Patrick comes back? Exactly. I will make the same face that you're making right now. So I would think they're set as of right now, but nothing's in stone depending on how well these players play. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's a good – I'll look at it for right now. It's good that they try to light a fire under Borom and Jenkins to get them to do what they needed to do, and then didn't just say where you're out. You know, because some people, when you fall out of favor, they never give you a chance to fall back in. You know what I'm saying? But also those players fought for, because, and I've said this on Under Center, if I'm them, I'm looking at Braxton Jones Jr. and I'm like, yeah, they over here playing favoritism, basically. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? Shorty he just gets the spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, what? And again, I'm not there. And I'm not in the trenches to know like his performance compared to their performance, but I'm sure they're looking at it like, dude, come on now. I'm Tevin Jenkins. I'm a second round pick that was supposed to go in the first round.
Right.
This kid's like Larry Borom. He's a fifth rounder, but at least Borom has a whole NFL season that he's played basically ahead of this young man. So for them to figure it out, and players that it seems like, particularly when we know with Jenkins, that they were willing to jettison in some form or fashion, that they realized there's too much talent just to get rid of such a big, strong brute as in a Tevin Jenkins, and how much, even though it wasn't you, the last regime put into giving reps to Larry Borom. You know what I'm saying? Why not? I mean, you're better trying to see what these kids can do, young men, with a lot of reps for the first quarter. And then if you have to go to Riley Reiff, you go to Riley Reiff at right tackle. Maybe you kick in Borom, but it's better to let them see what they can really do and get out there and kind of gel together. You know what I'm saying? To become one unit. So I kind of like it, even though I don't like anybody putting any dirt on anybody's name as far as like in Jenkins and not necessarily having the right attitude is what was alleged earlier on in training camp. But man, if they can figure it out, man, if you got there, I mean, I don't know. Braxton Jones, man, he's about to go through an ordeal this year.
Yes, he is.
That's just the truth.
That's a rite of passage, like boy with the spear, go out in the jungle and hunt kind of thing.
This trial by fire, hopefully he can withstand it and come through it. You know what I'm saying? Because it's going to be hard, quick. You know what I'm saying? Going from Nick Bosa right at the beginning of the year, but he needs that. He needs someone that's that talented on the edge to not just hit you with power, to be able to get around you. So that's
and great for him as a fifth rounder. No one thinks you can be a first round talent. You got week one, Nick Bosa, to show the entire country. Yeah, I'm here to play left tackle.
Exactly. So, and you got a guy like Larry Borom who played well against him last year to give you his thoughts on what he did. Basically, I'm thinking about it. I think I remember Borom just said he just kept to what he was supposed to do, his fundamentals. You know, so the line is the big question outside of the receivers room. But I'm interested. I just hope they can keep Justin clean and Luke Getsy can, even at times if the offensive line is struggling, can still move Justin around and keep Justin safe.
I got a couple of O-line questions for you. So who is your right tackle, ideally, day one opener?
For me,
is it Riley Reiff or is it Larry Borom?
I want to see what Borom can do. To be honest with you, I want to see Borom. If Borom's going to fail, I want to see it on the field. You know what I'm saying? And I hope that doesn't get Justin hurt. That's more important. But I mean, Borom, man, again, I'm saying this from a Chicago Bears fan that watched last year and a fifth round pick go out there and do a decent job and thinking about stacking that. He hasn't had a good camp. Borom has gotten his shape drunken a lot through camp. All right, like often, right? Like from the time I was out there, or just not from Josh and Alex telling me that, you know, particularly Josh, he hasn't looked well. He's getting burnt. You know what I'm saying? He's getting beat. But still thinking about who he was and where, and also learning in the new system. Of course, you're just the offensive lineman, but still having to learn, you know, different steps.
Well, that's a good point. Maybe he's thinking a little bit still right now rather than reacting. And that's why he's getting his butt whooped.
Right. And also, it's not the, you know what? Borom had it easy last year, knowing that the regime brought you in and liked you a whole lot and started looking at you as a starter earlier on, right? So you even though you're afraid of failure, it's different to be afraid of failure when you know the front office has your back and they're invested in you because they spent a draft pick on you and they're giving you all these opportunities, right?
It's just like an employer, right? Where
exactly, it's totally
you're getting
different.
a pat on the back. Good job. You're feeling good about a mistake. Hey, you F up again, you're out of here. You're scared as hell of making a mistake.
You're tumbling in. You can't get out your own head at that point. So now you look at Borom coming in where it looked like he had a job So then he's running with the second team himself at different points. Then they bring in Riley Reef and cement Braxton Jones Jr. as the left tackle. So now you like, whoa, hold up.
Yeah.
Right? Like, damn,
it's like
son,
musical chairs, and there's no chairs around.
I was the man last year. You know what I'm saying? Like now, so dog, that gets in your head. And I mean, this isn't even like, for instance, our jobs where, you know, I'm doing this for a client or doing something like that. This is in competition against a defender in front of you and other players trying to get your position. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's a lot of stuff that you can say you can't control. You can work hard. You can know your fundamentals. But, man, you can still get beat. And unfortunately, a lot of times at camp, it was consistent when it came to Borom. So, I mean, it's easy. And I don't think sometimes we realize that, man, it's easy to get in your own head. You know what I'm saying? Especially when you're not used to failure. Like, these dudes aren't like, these guys ain't been used to failing like that. You know what I'm saying? Let alone they're failing at the highest level. This isn't like, the college coach Gundy said, you know, that Jenkins can, if once he improved his maturity and he locked in what he could be a first round pick. So, I mean, you still know Mike Gundy wants you to be the great. He's going to do everything to make sure that you're going to get out there. They've invested in you, you know what I'm saying, giving you this scholarship, you know what I'm saying? That's different. You know, Borom at Missouri, that's different when it's like, dude, you in the pros. They will trade you if you have value or cut you if they don't think you're worth taking up a roster spot. And then you got to hope you get on with another team. And then you got to fight from the bottom on that other team, depending on the depth that they may have at that position. So that's hard, man. It's not as easy as people make it out to be.
And then I'm curious, center. Like, if Lucas Patrick is pretty much healthy, do you want him starting or Sam Mustipher?
No, if you don't stop talking to me like that craziness. Listen, I know you did not bring Lucas Patrick here and sell us this bag of beans about how this Green Bay backup can perform 16 to 17 games at center. He better be out there. I mean, we've seen what we've seen in Mustipher, and it's good to have a swing guy like Mustipher that can play center and guard still on your roster. But let's be honest. No, if you wouldn't have brought in Lucas Patrick if you thought Sam Mustipher was the answer. Why would you?
Go ahead. Isn't Sam Mustipher a little bit of a not guard option? Like, his value is his smarts and ability at center, but his worst ability is anchoring. You don't necessarily want that from your guard, right?
Right, but it still is a value that a guy that can play both positions in a break in case of emergency.
True.
You know what I'm saying? Like, that's because basically, okay, he's the backup center, but your backup center can be moved over to guard, so he's actually two spots rather than just one spot as a backup center.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And you only dress 7 on game day.
Right. And then you look at Riley Reef being a guy that you look at as being your swing tackle as of right now. You know what I'm saying? Until we find out what these kids can necessarily do. So, man, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be interesting, and we're going to know out the gate, you know what I'm saying?
I know.
49ers defense, you know what I'm saying, how well this line, because they're not going to be playing with them, right? They're going to try to take advantage of their inexperience to the utmost. You know what I'm saying? Yep. Hell yeah. Right? So you're going to see some exotic blitzes. You know what I'm saying? They're going to try to trick the hell out of these kids, let alone just beat them with the type of talent that they have on that defense when you're talking about that 49ers front 7.
So what do you think about Justin Fields then? I haven't talked to you since the end of that preseason game. How are you feeling about Justin Fields right now? Moving forward, season opener, even if it's just vibes and feels. I just want to know where Ken is at with Justin Fields right now.
I'm so biased when it comes to Justin, right? And I always remind myself of that. I'm just being open. Like, I'm rooting for him.
Wait, let me tell you a story real quick. After that preseason game, 3 touchdowns, I was just like, don't get too hyped. Like, in my own head, getting stuff out of the fridge. Don't get too hyped. But there was this second voice underneath, like, man, we've been telling you since day one, get on the boat. And I'm trying to stop myself from thinking that, but I can't help it. I've always liked him. I always thought he'd be a dude somewhere. And it's hard. I'm not buying into that. Oh, he's drafted by the Bears. They're going to ruin him kind of thing, even though they did try to kind of ruin him a little bit. But I still think like he's just going to be the man. I don't know what it is.
I hope. You know what I'm saying? I hope it's answered. I don't want – the last thing I want to do is have the Bears win 7 to 8 games. That's my prediction. I moved up a game. Win 7 or 8 games or have like the 9th pick, 8th pick in the draft, right? And they're thinking about maybe looking at a quarterback where all I want – but everyone who – and it's not just like I've said it before. Josh Schrock said it before. I was on Unfiltered with David Kaplan last week, and Cap said it. All we want is the Bears to be able to move down in the first round and collect draft picks, right? For all these teams that are going after quarterbacks and know we're set. When Jay was here, but like I didn't believe in Jay. After season 1, after 2 seasons. I didn't believe in him.
I don't think you're exaggerating with the 1. When he had those 4 interception games multiple times, you're like, holy shit. Like, you're going to be Aaron Rodgers? Get the fuck out of here.
I kept saying this. This wasn't at the end of his first season, and I wanted Jay Cutler terribly. All right? Don't get it twisted. Coming out of Vanderbilt.
He was my favorite player in the NFL before he came to the Bears.
Dude, it was not even a question the athletic gifts that he had. But the fundamentals, he never really wanted to refine. But after, I would say 4 to 5 games, if that, I said, man, we got Jeff George. Like a guy that's got a crazy cannon, but is never going to get it all together enough and be able to take you someplace. And I mean, at first,
maybe
he didn't have
one
any receivers.
Great that like outside their rookie year threw multiple 4 interception games in a season. Like that just doesn't happen.
I'm sure someone has to have had it, but that's a good question.
Probably way back in the Wayback Machine type thing, not in modern era football.
No, you know what? Brett Favre has had to have done it.
Probably.
Brett Favre has had to. Brett Favre
4 interception games though, multiple times in a year.
Nah, you could be right. Multiple times in a year. That could be the sticker right there where you got me. So you may have me right there.
But you're right about Jay. You are right. Like outside of him, like you were just hoping you could build the super team around him. You didn't have.
They have never, in my lifetime, drafted a quarterback of this pedigree, where like it was because like where there's questions about Justin, but it's like where was this really at, right? Because during the last 2 years at Ohio State. Everyone was basically like, all right, it's Trevor Lawrence and it's him, but it ain't. It's like he's right there behind him. And then while not playing damn near and only playing 5, 6, 7 games, all of a sudden he falls behind Zach Wilson and Trey Lance, who played a game that year, pandemic year.
For Division II on top of it.
Exactly. It was like, wait, so what, were y'all just waiting to do this? But pedigree-wise, like, Cade McNown didn't have this pedigree.
No. Rex Grossman didn't either.
Rex definitely didn't have
he might have had some of the collegiate achievement, but none of the ability.
I'm talking about threatening in the national championship consistently every year. He was the starter, facing Alabama's and Clemson's. Like these real schools. You know what I'm saying? Like, and sometimes defeating them. You know what I'm saying? Like, where that's what he went up against some teams in his couple of years down there at Ohio State. So like those guys weren't doing it like that on this stage where, and again, now it's an apples to oranges comparison because you have the playoff system now or whatever. So they may not have had the straight opportunity when you had like the AP and the coaches deciding necessarily the rankings of who was national.
Yeah, but they didn't have the opportunity.
Yeah, they didn't. Come on, man. What? When's the last time UCLA was putting out?
I was just about to say, when's the last time we even thought about them in the national championship conversation?
Right. Like, dude, so it's like, dog, they never went out and got a dude that was looked at as the second best quarterback to come out behind someone who was viewed as generational talent, i.e. Andrew Luck or John Elway, as in Trevor Lawrence. They've never went out and gotten a guy like that. So again, I'm going off of that. I'm going off he's black. All right. I like the blacks, but I'm going off of he's black. You know what I'm saying? So it's good. Look, I wanted them to take Donovan McNabb, right? He was a Catholic League boy right here from the south side of Mark Carmel. It made perfect sense for them to go up and be like, we're going to go get McNabb and bring him to Chicago. And we may not have won a Super Bowl, but if we had a decent coach, they would have had a decade of prominent quarterback playing, right? Like, and like they've never, like now they're actually set up. And actually, that's something I meant to say. That's who I kind of feel like Justin's going to be, to be honest with you.
Ooh, Donovan? I think he's going to be a little bit more efficient than Donovan.
But man, dude, Donovan before that last
just a hair,
okay, because Donovan, that was part of the problem. Donovan was throwing that feet because he didn't want to go hide and get picked off. You know what I'm saying? But I mean, Donovan was right there outside,
and he was a gamer.
Yeah,
gamer.
He was just outside of the window of Brady and Peyton Manning. He was just they were so high above, and then of course when Aaron Rodgers finally starts on, but Donovan was right there, right beneath them. You know what I'm saying? Like, very good. And it wasn't like outside of Terrell Owens, what weapons did he have?
Right. And like, so he loses those 4 NFC championship games, but people forget the playoff runs he had and some of the teams he was beating to get to those NFC championships.
Tampa too.
They were only really favored to get to the Super Bowl out of any of those runs when they had T.O. That was it.
Right, dude. I mean, because who's the running back that they had there? That was a Johnny can do it all. I can't. But outside of that's the only guy they really had.
And even him, there's a reason why we can't remember his name. He wasn't a Pro Bowler. He wasn't an All Pro. He wasn't anything.
But listen, Fred Mitchell
as a returner, I think. As a returner, though, I think that you're thinking about.
No, man.
Pause the show for an old Eagles running back.
I can't. You can talk. Hold on. Wow.
Oh my God. I feel like it's Goodman or whatever. All
right, real quick. It was Westbrook. It was Westbrook.
Oh, Brian Westbrook.
Yeah, Westbrook was nice. Don't get it twisted. Right. Westbrook was nice. All right, but that was it.
Respect on his name.
That was it. That's the outside of T.O., which that lasted a year. That was it, basically, right? They didn't put him around like these star receivers and set Donovan up like that. He had to get it done out the dirt. All right.
Jay Fields, he's got way more mobility than Don McNabb. Like that touchdown to Cole Kmet in the third game. Like if he can really master that, like rollout, just reading guys running towards him or trying to get at the receiver they think in the scramble drill. If he gets good at that, and I don't know about you, but with him, that accuracy looked especially crisp from Justin Fields. Like he has always been an accurate passer, but at times I felt last year he was not as accurate as he was in college, which was a little, like the footwork, the timing was a big part of that, and you can see the difference this year, at least in that preseason game.
Yeah, we got to see now when it starts getting hot, does he revert back to his old ways? But he doesn't seem like the type
that's
of cat.
Somewhat solved from the fact that we're seeing the rollouts, we're seeing them move it. Like, oh, we can't block this. Let's get him on the move. Then let's move him a little bit. Versus before, where it's like, oh, we can't block this. Well, run it.
I'm with you. I mean, look again, and go back to your initial question. If I have a good season from Justin Fields, I'm happy. The record doesn't. I still want my team to win. But if they get 7-8 victories, and Justin,
let's be real. If they got 3 victories, but we know Justin Fields is the dude for the next 10 years, we'd take that in a heartbeat.
And on the flip side, I may be happier because you have a higher draft pick. Right,
that we're going to be selling,
which is more value to trade down, so somebody can come up and get, Young or Stroud or whoever. But like, it may, like you said, if Matt Eberflus seems like he's the coach, you know what I'm saying? Because I mean, Lovey's first season, they won 5 games, I believe. Lovey's first season as the Bears head coach.
That sounds right.
But you knew the defense had a chance to be special.
You saw some
like
players.
You saw where it was like, oh, okay. I also remember the LB came in and how he ran them. Everybody got hurt. But you saw like where it's like, well, this defense, they may be able to do something. And like if that's how this year goes, where you have that where we're like, this defense can do something, but we have a quarterback for a decade. Yeah, man, you got to looking at this division, Aaron Rodgers, he only has several more years ahead of him, right? I'm not afraid of Jared Goff and Dan Campbell. And I will see what I forget his whole name, the new general manager of the Vikings does. But I mean, yeah, they got offensive talent, but none of us is afraid of Kirk Cousins. You know what I'm saying? We're afraid of Jefferson, Thielen, and Cook. And Cook has to stay healthy more than just one season.
And Thielen's getting up there in years. He's another one.
Right. So, I mean, we'll have to but this division can be had. I'm not looking at anybody. And again, I'm not talking about this year because clearly it's Green Bay's year to have this division with the Vikes pulling up behind them. But like down the road, I'm not fearful that maybe Detroit finally figures it out. And I'm sure they'll be in the quarterback market and then they're filling out their roster with talent. But Detroit, for some reason, I'm not saying this to disrespect them, it always falls apart. You know what I'm saying? So it
already feels like it's starting to fall apart before it got even good yet.
Right. You know what I'm saying? They'll have to prove it can be sustained because we all thought that after that 1 year with Jim Schwartz that the Lions were going to be a rival of the Green Bay here in the NFC North when they had Ndamukong Suh, Stafford, Megatron. You know what I'm saying? We were all like, oh my goodness, right? And that was one season and it was over. They did it was he couldn't rally the troops and get them to focus in. And so again, I've loved Detroit teams growing up because of Barry Sanders and the colors. All right. I know I'm a Leo. So
I gotta go Thanksgiving a little bit too. I mean, when you always got the team on Thanksgiving, one of the best holidays.
With Barry Sanders on your team, you know, a little bit of Robert Perche and Herman Moore. I'm in for a little Rodney Peete. All right. Scott Mitchell and Eric Kramer. You know what I'm saying? Andre Ware. I'm there for a little bit of all that action because they wasn't a threat to us for real. It was like, it's kind of cool or whatever. But, you know, like you kind of had a familiarity with Tampa being in the Central before it became the NFC North. So, yeah, I mean, if Justin can be the guy, and I mean, just imagine if he can stack as far as growth and add more to his repertoire and refinement, man, Doc, I've never seen it. I was a little kid. All I could hope for was Jim McMahon was going to be healthy. Right. Mm-hmm. Oh, maybe this year. Okay. Maybe this. Okay. This ain't going to work. Right. That's all I could.
Right.
And then the Jim Harbaugh was going to be the answer, you know, or between that Mike Tomczak, but the Jim Harbaugh could finally be the answer with how he was viewed coming out of Michigan. And that didn't work. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just been so much failure at one position. I mean, no, I disrespect Detroit, but they had Matthew Stafford for over a decade. You know what I'm saying?
When they talk about the Cleveland Browns for all those years not having a quarterback, they had more quarterbacks than we have. And color on top of it.
They had Testaverde after having Bernie Kosar. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, Otto Graham, I believe, was playing after Red Grange. So I'm just like, they've had them a few. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Let alone the sicko they got being the quarterback highlights.
Now. We only have colored highlights of Jay, really.
Come on, man. So, I mean, if this kid is the one, let alone, man, I want to see him. And he wouldn't take a victory lap. I want to see him rub it in everybody's face. Just seeing the clips of John Lynch talking about how Kyle Shanahan was drawing up plays for Trey Lance after they went to Ohio State. The disrespect. Right. Like, we went to Ohio State and Justin confirmed, yeah, we're not picking him. Okay. Go show them. Justin, go and show them what they need. Because, I mean, for me, listen, I'll be honest with you. And again, Kyle Shanahan knows more about anything football than I could ever
imagine. We're very pro Kyle Shanahan on this.
Very pro, as Josh Schrock would say, Shanahan God. But, dude, it's not a question. Out of fear, I would have took Justin Fields over Trey Lance.
Right.
Out of fear, a kid that played, as you said, at the lower level and only had a season, even though he didn't throw a pick.
It's a powerhouse, but damn.
Come on now. That's
I
like
know.
that.
I know.
All right.
Guess
All
who
right.
else is a powerhouse? Ohio State. Guess who else is
Yeah.
up there?
Right. And this wasn't a regular Ohio. Dog, this wasn't even Jim Tressel's Ohio State. And I know Jim Tressel
This
at
was
least
a super special Ohio State.
Listen, Spurrier.
Super serum.
We know Spurrier, not Spurrier. What's his name? Was the coach?
Urban
Meyer. Urban Meyer is not a good human being, but man, he can coach some of that college football, boy.
He can
recruit his ass off. I mean, like, don't get it. When it comes to college football, look, I hate to say it. Hey, man, I know everybody knows you're doing a deal with the devil, but man, if he was open and if it was a school, I would bring him back.
Illinois?
You know. Dog, yeah. Hell yeah, they should break him down there, man.
It's just like that team that went to the national championship, like somebody else is coaching Herb's team at Illinois. That'd be hilarious.
Dude, man, look, man, I'm just saying, dude, when it comes to college football, Urban
Meyer
you're right.
is
one of the best that's ever done it.
I mean, and you said it earlier, like if the pandemic wiped out that college football year, every team would have taken Justin Fields too in that draft.
Come on.
They wouldn't even have talked to anybody else.
Right.
And he Justin, goes all the way
crazy
down
part,
because
he's out there campaigning for them to play. All he had to do was be like, all right, we're going to say, I'm going to sit out.
Right.
That's all he basically had to do.
Number 2 in the draft, automatic.
Would have had less tape on him. They may have still picked him apart like they did, and then came out with his illness. And that we don't even talk about that. Remember how that happened right before the draft?
Seizure. I always think about that. Oh, he has seizures. We can't do it. Like it's never talked about in college. Never talked about now. Right. It's never going to be a problem, most likely. Like it was the most. It remind me of the face mask with my man, the smoke. The face mask,
Laramie Tunsil.
Yes. Remind me of that. Like we're overblowing this thing way too big.
Man, they whoever did that to Laramie Tunsil, there's a special place in hell for them. Because I mean, not like right. Was that right before the draft or during the draft?
Just a little. I got to counter. It was right before. It was minutes before the draft.
Right.
He was going to be like first pick in the draft. You're completely right. The only thing I've only kind of somewhat maybe shifted, it's like one of those things where people say, without that horrible thing, the rest of my life wouldn't have turned out this way, and I wouldn't be the same person, so I wouldn't change anything. He's got all those records for how many picks he's been traded for and all the draft contracts. I wonder if even he would want to go back in time and change anything, or if he kind of likes how everything kind of turned out ultimately.
I'm sure he likes how everything turned out because he got his bread.
And he's he's this public figure. He's worth like 6 first-round draft picks in his career.
Right. Like he got his bread, so I'm sure he's happy with how. And also, I think he's probably happy with everything turned out in the way because now how people view marijuana. Yeah. Like that was like that. Think about that. Like we didn't know these college kids were smoking weed, and that's what you are afraid of, that your offensive lineman is getting the munchies. You know what I'm saying? Like if you looked at his film and evaluated him as a player that you would draft at a high position, it shouldn't have scared you.
Easy.
Yeah.
I don't know who else was in that draft. That's the only reason why I say top 3, because the best left tackle always goes within the top 3.
Wasn't Leonard Floyd in that draft? I want to say, was that the Leonard Floyd draft? I feel like that was the Leonard Floyd draft.
About right.
I don't know if it was.
Too bad he couldn't wear a gas mask.
It wasn't the It wasn't the Roquan draft though, right? That wasn't the Roquan draft. No, it definitely wasn't.
It was not the Roquan.
Yes, I believe it was Leonard Floyd draft or whatever. But yeah, man, if again to get all the way back, if we have that guy and he shows it, one will say something about Luke Getsy. And the last thing we need is Luke Getsy to be up out of here that fast. But he'll say something about Luke Getsy.
I think for once I've come around on even that. Because I don't like that either when they leave. But if he is really that man, like Justin Fields, he is that dude, I don't think it's going to matter who his OC is.
Oh, well, I think it matters, but I'll say this. At least they would have the system as far as the framework of a Shanahan-style zone scheme. You know what I'm saying? So he would still have the same principles regardless if you promote Janico or whatever you did as far as bringing someone. I doubt they would bring in someone who is like, running the numbers. You know what I'm saying? System. Like, no, they're going to go with some form of this West Coast system. Is what they through the Shanahan tree is what they're probably going to stick with for Justin and for the offensive players. So listen, I said
but Getsy's gone. You are definitely right about that.
I said to you, we should not have a fear of if Getsy is gone. Like that operating from that fear point, that means we will never get anybody worth a damn. Where it's like, no, get him. You know what I'm saying? Like if he can be that guy, you know what I'm saying, that the teams are looking for and he can prove it and he can help our guy, just make sure you have the person behind him that's ready to go and knows what he wants to do. So definitely, man, if that works out, I'm going to be excited.
Me too.
I mean, already looking at, and again, it's too early to know how many of these draft picks are truly going to be worth a damn. But just looking at the fact of the amount of draft picks that are getting reps out of this first draft,
and getting reps that are getting you excited. Like Kyler Gordon was really doing it for me in that third game.
Yes, he did.
Like you're like, damn, Brisker, Braxton Jones. I like Ebner a lot. Let's see Velus Jones maybe do more.
Like, Elijah Hicks.
Whoa.
Gill.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Trenton is punting.
Right. So I mean, if you're like you're telling me that there's a chance that
maybe
our front
Dominique
office
Robinson
could start getting like 5 good players out of almost every draft, damn near, maybe miss occasionally on a first, but still not even let's just say it has to be a bust, but he never becomes exactly the stud that we think. But like I haven't had that really since Jim Finks. You know,
to your point, if Justin Fields shows that like level, that advancement, that's one draft class, and you're fine if that's the only player you get out of it is your starting quarterback moving forward. And then this is now the next draft class, and you're talking about 5 guys. Usually how this thing works in the NFL, a greatness period, you stack 3 or 4 drafts together of enough consequential guys. That's how you sustain a run for about 4 or 5, maybe even like the Bears with Lovey, like 8 years, kind of up and down within that.
And remember, they were missing on first rounders.
Mm-hmm. Right.
So,
like Chris Williams.
Yeah, but so we'll definitely see. We'll definitely see. I'm looking forward to this 49ers game. I have the Bears winning this game. If Jimmy Garoppolo stays the F off the field.
Mr. Restructuring.
I know, right? I have I think they can keep Justin clean. I think, man, the Bears, if they can get after Trey Lance, man, this can be a fun Sunday. So I'm gonna go with the Bears to win their first game out the gate.
I'm feeling that, honestly. And it's not so much that I think much better of the Bears. I just kind of feel like they are a chippy team. And this is kind of one of those weeks where it seems like you probably could catch some people off guard. You want to make a splash. And I don't think they'll necessarily sustain it. But I'm kind of feeling like this team feels a little disrespected. And that's usually one of the best motivators any given Sunday.
Facts, to say the least. So I have the Bears. I'll give you a score. I have the Bears beating the 49ers 23-16.
I'll go 24-23. Bears.
Okay. And so that's what I have. I mean, and I hope I'm right. I hope it's at least a close game. The last thing I want is a Bears blowout the first game of the year, and then I have to go on under center with so much.
I like how we're not even considering that the other end, that the Bears are going to blow.
I mean, because last year, man. Oh man, that was a rough season.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying. It was
honestly. I was thinking about that this morning. I was thinking about the White Sox and just like, oh, this reminds me so much of last year's Bears season. It is just like pain every time and then I really started thinking about that season. Man, how did I watch enough of that Matt Nagy, Ryan Pace disaster? Ugh. I mean, just knowing every week you're not going to score shit.
Yup.
You ain't scoring shit. How can you play pro sports at that level when the fundamental goal is to score and you know you're not scoring shit?
Right.
It's wild thinking of like how bad that season really was last year.
How bad the last couple of seasons were.
I know. And you're totally right about that. That last 2 years of Nagy, unbelievably just ooh.
Particularly with the amount of money that they had on that roster. You know,
that was like a wound just getting reinfected, and you kept like trying to pop it, and it just would not go.
No, you got to go to the hospital for that. They got to do surgery on that one. It's not going to heal up, and sooner or later you're going to get it's going to get gangrenous. So,
and that's where it got to. It got to a point where somebody had seen for maybe 10 years, like, hey, that's looking a little green. Like, okay, now I'm going to go to the
hospital. Anything else before we get up out of here, Ryan?
Any food ideas for that first Sunday, or are we still not planning? Too early out.
Food ideas as far as am I having something
like food at the house that you will most likely be consuming that day?
Nah, man. Like stuff. I mean, honestly, I may grab something on the way home from the studio. You know what I'm saying? But I kind of got to change my diet up now, so I'm only gonna do 2 bad days basically. Like lately, I've just been like whatever. Even though I don't eat fast food, but I'm still not eating healthy. But still, like I don't even because I'm not even. You know what? I'm not. I don't have anything just yet because one, I'm not gonna have enough time to prepare something because usually, like the Super Bowl, saying I usually kind of do that spread for the most part. But I'm not gonna have the time because now, and just so everybody out to this, we're recording. We're gonna try to record on the Sundays where they play early. We're gonna try to record our reaction in studio. So I got to watch post game interviews and then find out from the guys things maybe I didn't get to see on television. And I got to make my way down to RSN to record and bring. Yeah, so definitely
that's gonna be exciting.
What about you? What do you have? Where do you plan on eating?
Oh, boy, I've been flirting with this idea. I don't know how feasible it is because I haven't looked into it. Trying to get a cuisine from the area of the Bears' opponent.
Wow, that's dope.
That's what I've been trying to think about. And
so is it going to be seafood?
Yeah, I was thinking like Asian or seafood, something like that for San Francisco.
Okay.
But that's the intention.
You going to eat the Ops cuisine on the day of the game?
I don't know what I'm going to do for Green Bay. I guess bratwurst. That's the only thing you can do.
Right. Cheese curds. Johnsonville's and cheese curds and beer.
You will eat brands. It's not a cuisine. It's just brands.
Has some Pabst Blue.
Velveeta, Pabst, and Johnsonville.
All right, everyone. We always appreciate you taking about a little bit of time to hear us talk sports or entertainment or whatever's on our mind. Definitely go Bears. I'm objective, but this is the first game. So, man, don't make this a long season. And again, long may not necessarily mean win total, but you know what long is like, damn, they don't know what they're doing, right? Because at least right now, it's like, I think they may know what they're doing. So that's a low bar.
But they know maybe what they're doing.
This is a very low bar, man, and we deserve better, but definitely, be safe. And we look forward to talking to you down the line. Subscribe on YouTube. Make sure you follow Ryan and I on all social media platforms. He's Rampy Ski and Rampy Ski 1. I'm Matt Davis. Again, be safe. We'll talk to you.